Hi guys, it's Tenaya, running for Congress. So I want to talk about being white because I'm a white girl and from a long line of white, and I'm seeking a congressional seat that is 2/3 Latino, with half of the voting population being Latino voters. So and there's going to be very distinct issues, especially immigration issues, but other social justice issues that are going to be really important to the 34th district. The 34th has, for most of its time, for 20 years at least, been with a Latino representative. And the areas that are in the assembly that it's broken up to, it's kind of split into two areas. With the assembly also has Latino representatives. And I think that is important. I think that's right. And so there's a question really inside of myself even, and probably for constituents and for voters, can a white girl or should a white girl be a representative of this very diverse and primarily Latino population and constituency base? Is it possible for me to really understand and speak for the issues that are facing the community? And so what I've done is a lot of conversations with people who maybe help me answer that question. And so there's three conversations in particular that I want to talk about. One is a friend of mine who works for a nonprofit organization, and they look at Latino voters in particular and assist with elected officials, primarily Latino elected officials, with kind of training and ethics training and some other things. And so she has sort of a pulse on this. And one of the things she said is that it's important to really recognize that the Latino vote isn't really just one block vote, right? There's a vast difference, and that difference really does expand and has important differences in generations, how long you've been here. And so there's more issues really where there is alignment across any kind of ethnic base because of the generational how long people have been here in the United States. So that was good information. I think also one of the things that they've found is that the main issues are sort of economy and jobs and healthcare and others where there is a common ground along the policy issues. But immigration really is a top issue. Now, I will say, as a white person who has a commitment to the 34th district, I'm going to tell you straight up, white people care about immigration. This idea of round people up and deport everyone, it doesn't make sense to most of the people who I know, most of the white folk that I know. And so I think there is, in a lot of ways, an important ally within the white community who can stand with folks around this idea of immigration. And I think part of the problem that I have with immigration is that the two sides seem to be, one, that people have broken the law. So they've broken the law. That's what all my conservative friends say. They broke the law. They need to be deported. Okay. And on the other side, I hear the immigration system is broken. And so when I was talking to a young man yesterday, his name's Freddie, and he's been very active in the immigration rights community with a lot of the nonprofit organizations at the grassroots level. He is protected currently under DACA. He's been able to go to school. He has a great job. He has been able to buy a car. As he said to me, he feels safe and normal. He can live kind of a safe and normal life under DACA. But he also reminded me that President Obama didn't just wake up one day and be like, yeah, DACA, let's do that for people. And that was a man of color who grew up in poverty, who needed to really be pushed, and there needed to be activism, and there needed to be protest, and there needed to be movement on the grassroots level in order to get President Obama to really make this a priority. And that's important. What's important about that is activism matters. Activism is important. Mobilization, grassroots campaigns are critical. Freddie said, I don't really work with any elected officials because elected officials don't seem to want to really talk about the issue. And when I said, well, what I hear is that the system is broken, and he said something really important. And he said, the system isn't broken. It's designed exactly how it's intended to work, which is to promote this idea of the American dream, get people to come to the United States illegally. Folks come illegally, and they do all kinds of work, farm work, mow and blow our lawns, take care of our kids, clean our homes, right? These are jobs that are being done, and there is no protection. There's no protection for this work. There is no payment into a Social Security fund that then they can retrieve. There's oftentimes payment of taxes that they won't receive back. There is no protection, and it's intended that way to take advantage of an undocumented workforce, because when people can't organize and speak up for themselves and there is no legitimacy to their work, they have to stay silent, and it is this indentured servitude. He said to me, basically, the system is designed for white people, and white people don't talk about that very often. We oftentimes really don't see it. We don't see it. We don't see the kind of white privilege of the system. I have talked to my kids a lot about white privilege. My daughter asked me the other day, does it matter that I'm white? And I said, yeah, it does. It matters that you're white. It matters because there is a privilege and a responsibility. And that's how I feel about it. I feel that there's a privilege and a responsibility. And so the question is, can I, as a white person, really understand and represent a community that is 2/3 Latino? And I think the answer is yes, if. Yes, if. And this was Freddie's point to me. Yes, if I listen. And not just the kind of politician listen where you go, oh yeah, that's really interesting. What did you have to say? And then you don't do anything about it. But the serious kind of listening where you are understanding the struggle. And one of the things, what did he say to me? It was really interesting. I wrote it down because it was so interesting to me. This idea that, that a lot of times politicians, and especially white politicians, they question the struggle. They question the struggle, the Black Lives Matter movement or the immigration rights movement. They question, really? Is it really that hard? Is it really that tough? And when you question the struggle, when people are saying this is what we're struggling with, and then you question that struggle, it really delegitimizes what people are telling you. And I think it's important to not delegitimize the struggle. So yeah, he said, being white has a different experience of being American and being in America, legal or not. And I understand that. I do. I see it. And so he said that if I felt like I really wanted to run for this district, and then I had a responsibility to talk about race. That I have a responsibility to talk about the fact that we have a system in immigration designed to keep people in servitude, essentially, to not allow folks to organize and get the same kind of rights. We don't want to make people legal, right? We want to keep folks fearful. And then another thing that white people do really well is we blame brown people for all of the issues that we have. Oh, the economy sucks. It must be the damn immigrants, right? And that is what we have a president who just did, really create this blame. So talking about it honestly and talking about it in terms of race, not just immigration, but talking about it in terms of race, is really essential. It's fundamental as a white girl. And the other thing that really struck me in the third conversation, the librarian who is at my kid's school, she's been a citizen for about 3 years. And she said one of the things that she's found and believes is that the Democrats have sort of taken, taken the Latino vote for granted, because at least Democrats talk about a broken immigration system rather than just round them all up, right? And so because there's a more conciliatory tone about the conversation about immigration, then Latinos tend to vote Democrat. But what she pointed out is that many Latinos are incredibly conservative, being Catholic, and abortion as an issue and other kinds of stuff. And there could be a time when Latinos vote Republican and do vote. There have been. We're like, well, how could people vote for Trump? Because folks are conservative, and the Catholic, culture and religion tends to have a more conservative appeal. So really don't take advantage, or don't believe that just because you're a Democrat, you're going to have the Latino vote. And she saw it not just with Democrats, with white Democrats, but with Latino Democrats as well, that there's like, well, of course you're going to vote for me. And in the 34th district, the number of Republicans is in the single digits. So it's an overwhelmingly Democratic congressional district. I don't even think there is any Republicans running. But I thought that was really important, that don't take don't look at Latino votes as a voting bloc necessarily, and don't take them for granted. And if I'm going to be white, which, I'm going to be white no matter what I do about it, I have to talk about race in immigration. And I have to look at it as a system that is systematically looking to keep people in a place where they're doing the jobs we don't want to do, without any kind of security and without any kind of ability to speak up and speak out. So what I'm going to keep doing is having conversations, one, about race, and two, with people who are active in the community and work with constituents in general. And not treating everyone as this voting bloc, but understanding generationally and even by neighborhood, what are the main issues that are facing the constituency. And I will say, one of the things that is good about being white and running in this district is that it makes me keep asking questions. I don't take anything for granted. I'm not saying that I understand, I know, oh yeah, I've had the same experience, or believing that all experiences are the same. And so I want you guys to keep me honest as well. And if you see that white privilege start to pop up in what I'm talking about, and kind of a disconnect from your experiences within the 34th district, or just being in the United States, I would ask that you call me on it, because it's a conversation we have to keep having. So, all right, white girl out. Talk to you later.